I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're going to introduce you to a very exciting creator who has brought his father's work to life. His father has written a compelling book called Conversations with the Pope. It is a novel set in an imaginative literary framework, presenting a series of dialogues between an Australian journalist and the Pope, exploring the potential of reconciliation of Catholicism with the concept of reincarnation and delving into the complex politics of the Vatican. We're delighted to have Paul join us here today on Spotlight, and we ask viewers like you to support creators like him by subscribing to our channel. Paul, thanks so much for being our guest here today on Spotlight.
You're welcome, Logan. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
This is quite a book your father wrote, and I think it's wonderful that you're keeping his legacy going. Tell us a little bit about your dad, what his name was, and why he wrote this book.
Sure. So, Logan, my father, Simon Ioannou, he was born in Greece in 1946, and he came to Australia at a very young age. And in a nutshell, he was interested in lots of things in his life. As a matter of fact, he was not always a believer. He was for a long time, when he was growing up, he was an agnostic. It's worth mentioning that in light of the type of book that he wrote later in his life, Logan. And he actually became, in 1980, he helped to start up SBS television channel here in Australia. Which was Australia's, for those people who don't know out there, it was Australia's first multicultural broadcasting TV channel. Yeah. So, and he eventually wrote this book, and which is basically synthesis of reincarnation with Christianity, and also towards in the last sort of section of the book, he talks about examining the female ordination and the question of reincarnation and its relationship to the issue, or the contentious question of ordaining women as priests in the Catholic Church. For my father believed that women definitely should be allowed to become priests, and I fully also think that women should be allowed to become priests. As a lot of people out there may not know, in the Catholic Church, the way it is at the moment, women are not officially allowed to become priests, very sadly. So.
Yeah. So your dad was pushing for what you might call some liberal reforms in the church, to embrace the concept of reincarnation, for women to be part of the clergy as priests, not only as nuns. Tell us about your father's framework for this novel. He has an Australian journalist, Albert Magnusson, do the questioning. Is that basically your dad? He invented this persona for himself for the novel?
That's right, Logan. That's it. He invented the persona of that reporter, Albert Magnusson, who goes to wins that sort of imaginary prize, and goes to the Vatican and talks for them with the Pope and his Monsignor for a number of weeks about all different matters of religious and spiritual importance and interest, reincarnation, with Christianity and different things. Yes. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, your dad died before he was able to get this book published, but you picked up his work and got it published. Tell us why you decided to do that.
Logan, I decided to do that because this is a good point for me to mention something, that is that I agree with all the essential philosophies and things that he wrote in the book. If I did not agree, I would if it was something, if he wrote stuff that I completely disagreed with, I would not have gotten it published just because he was my father. So I think that this is an important book, and it takes a very controversial topic of reincarnation, well, controversial in some parts of the world, and attempts to, and gives evidence for it, and attempts to create give an argument as to why it is not a contradiction to be a Christian and also believe in reincarnation.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be a conflict to me. I was raised Catholic and am a Catholic. Obviously, the way the hierarchy of the church, they feel differently. Do you feel encouraged with our most recent Pope? He seems to be a little bit more liberal than some of the more conservative popes of the past.
Yeah. Logan, I must confess, I don't know a huge amount about him, but I've noticed that he does seem to be, a little bit more, open to new ideas, from what I've noticed. So, so I'm happy about that, at least in terms of
Exactly. How long did your father work on this book, and was he hoping that it might actually impact the standing of the church?
Logan, I don't know exactly how long he wrote it, how long it took him to write it. It may have been approximately 2 or 3 years, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think that he wanted to really put it out there. And I knew that there were lots of aspects of the Catholic Church which he felt had to be called into question.
Yeah. You mentioned your dad was agnostic for a lot of his life. When did he come back to the church or find the church and become, interested in Catholicism and the hierarchy of the church?
Logan, he was born as a Greek Orthodox person, and he basically grew up as an agnostic, and then eventually he seemed to have a change in his views on things, making him more spiritual. And he saw things in Catholicism which he liked. So, and then after that, he actually converted to become a Catholic. In 1980, he converted and became a Catholic. He converted from Greek Orthodoxy to Catholicism. And then from there on, so it was that was what he wanted to that was what he was interested in.
Interesting. Well, he made a profound change later in life with his religion, and found his faith, and also wanted to have an impact on his religion. And I think he has done so with this book. The name of the book is Conversations with the Pope. It is written by Simon Ioannou, and Paul Ioannou has gone out of his way to get it published, to share with you the intriguing concepts found within the pages of this wonderful book that is imaginative, literary, set in the framework of a novel, yet explores very, very real issues for Catholics around the globe. Paul, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
You're welcome, Logan. It's my pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine, my friend. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.